Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Scotty Shaw, and today is day 16 of 40 Days of K. And the word today is excellence. And this is something I've been familiar with my whole life, just pursuit of excellence, always trying to be the best. When I was 6 years old, I remember thinking it was just this epiphany one day, and I remember I was across the street. I don't remember why I was across the street, but I was across the street in someone else's yard at the time when I had this epiphany and just realized, why not just be the best at everything? Why be good at one thing or even the best at one thing when I can be the best at everything? I don't know where it came from, but that's just how it's always been since then. And I remember fifth grade, um, my team was undefeated, the other team was undefeated. This other team we were playing against, they were all undefeated as well, and we ended up losing by 1 point, 24-23. And I was so angry. It's one of the very few times I cried in my life, um, and I just couldn't stop crying because I was just so angry that we lost. And I swore the guy that led his team, I swore he would never again score on me. So I went home, practiced all the time. It wasn't just excellence in one game; it was the pursuit of excellence in general. And I practiced nonstop. And then we got to the championship game, city championship in Springdale, Arkansas. And it's time to play each other again. In this game, he did not touch the ball at all. Whistle to whistle, didn't touch the ball. It wasn't just he didn't score, it was he didn't even touch the ball. Because I swore he would never score on me again, and the best way to do that is just make sure he never touches the ball. And we won the championship. So, fifth grade, city championship in Springdale, Arkansas. Still remember that. And here's the thing, I wasn't even the best player. We had two guys, one called Josh Fields, who I guess he was kind of like he was probably more of kind of a mix between Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook. Just this bulldozer kind of kid. Then we had a guy called JT Eichenberger, went on and played college ball, and he yeah, he was one of our best players, or by far our best player actually. So I was only our third best player, but my thing was I swore that we would defeat that team the next time we saw them. I played my role. I went home, practiced, and I'm sure if I had met Coach K as a kid, his autograph would have meant a lot to me because he says here, when I sign autographs for kids, I almost always put the same message. Always try your best. If they get nothing else from meeting me, I want them to remember these words. And that's something that I already believed in. And for a coach to write that, I would have just been amazed. Like, wait, he thinks the way I do, or he knows what I'm thinking, or I don't get it. What's going on? But the main thing is, Coach says, define your own success and failure. Only you know whether or not you have given it your all. The persistent pursuit of excellence determines winners, not the score of the game. And what he means is whether I won that championship or not. What made me a winner was the fact that I went home and practiced and did my part to make my team better. Now, of course, getting that gold medal was great as well, but you don't have to be the winner to have the mindset of a winner. You don't have to be the champion to be a winner. Now, being a champion is more a manifestation of being a winner, but a winner never stops improving. They're always getting better. And I've mentioned this so many times. That's the mindset Duke has. That's the mindset Duke displayed in their pamphlet for recruiting students. And that's what I could gather. That's what Duke wanted. They want students that had that winning mindset. And I had already displayed that by creating that basketball league. Whether I knew it or not, that's what Duke wanted, and that's what got me in. So from there, I was in a place at a school with people who they didn't care if I was the best. They cared that I was trying to be the best version of myself. And that's what I just focused on. A lot of people talk about you go to school to get a job. Yeah, maybe. It depends on the person. I went to Duke to find out what else I can become. What's the best version of me? What do I need to figure out in life? And then go from there, one step at a time. And it's there's something that I told so many people. I'm not even sure if I got it from this book or from myself, but um, Coach K says here something that I've always believed: to be excellent, you must be yourself. Do the very best that you can do, because if it's not good enough right now, you keep doing your best. It's gonna be good enough one day. And later on, he says, remember that there is a vital distinction between excellence and perfection. Yeah, perfect practice makes perfect. But even if you don't achieve perfection, achieving excellence is a big deal. And it's kind of like when we talk about this guy played the perfect basketball game, we don't mean that he scored every single shot he made, no turnovers, no fouls. We mean that he did everything. You know, for example, uh, he shot maybe he shot 12 of 15, hit some threes, some free throws, ends up with 33 points. But he also had 12 rebounds, 11 assists, 4 steals, 3 blocks. He did everything. He missed some shots, yeah. Maybe he had 3 turnovers, 2 fouls. But the fact is, he was there in every facet of the game. And even when he wasn't there, you were thinking about him because he's a dangerous opponent. Or maybe he's your teammate. And the whole time, he's bailing you out of situations. You threw a bad pass, he saved it, dunked it. Your almost turnover became an assist. And it's one of those things where when you're in the zone, you can really start to impact and influence so many different things, whether you mean to or not. And, there's a lot of enthusiasm involved as well from yesterday. But in the end, excellence it's not just a manifestation of your efforts, but also a pursuit, a goal. And one of the biggest things I've always believed in is you learn what you can from everyone, good and bad. What you do is you take the good and try to improve it. You take the bad and try to make it good. And it turns out Coach K got this advice as well from a lot of excellent coaches. When he was with Bobby Knight at Indiana, he met Hall of Fame coaches like Henry Iba and Pete Newell. They told him learn everything they can from Bobby Knight, but not to be Bobby Knight or anyone else. Instead, take everything that I learned from him and fit it into who I am as a person, a leader, and a coach. Essentially, they told me to be myself. And he closes out by saying, our goal should not be to be our heroes, but rather to learn from them and then do the best possible job of being ourselves. And it's so true, because the story here is in 98, right? Yeah, 1998. Elton Brand and Shane Battier came into Duke as freshmen and starters. Elton became one of the best players in the country his first year and was National Player of the Year the next. Shane was not at that level of play immediately, but still played excellent basketball. He was a starter and was named National Defensive Player of the Year as a sophomore. The big thing is Shane Battier never compared himself to Elton Brand, so he never felt ashamed or jealous, frustrated. He realized he had to run his race. Elton Brand, 2 years, went to the NBA. Shane Battier still made it to the NBA. And, 2001, national champion, player of the year, all conference player, still made it to the NBA anyways. So one important thing is, and I love how with Coach K, he doesn't say to never interact with people worse than you. It's not demeaning the way a lot of people talk about it. What he says here is, Another part of seeking and maintaining excellence is always surrounding yourself with others who have high personal standards, not people better than you. Because when you surround yourself with people with high personal standards, that's when you're giving each other the license to make mistakes and learn from each other. When you're saying you should always surround yourself with people better than you, then why should they be with you? You're worse than them. You're wasting their resources, time, and efforts. But if it's about high personal standards, you can be the worst, and it's okay because you're learning from them. And it's okay for them to spend time with you because you have high personal standards, which means they can learn from you as well. So I don't believe in this whole always surround yourself with people better than yourself, because why would I spend time with you if I'm better than you? Based on your logic, I'm wasting my time. And you're selfish because you're putting yourself on me when you're using me. But if you come to me and say, I want people with high personal standards, I believe I'm one and I want to improve. I believe you're another one and I want you to improve. And I want to be in each other's pursuits of excellence and increasing excellence. Yeah, let's go for it. Because now it's not about who's better. It's not a waste of time if I spend time with you. It's let's learn from each other. Let's help each other. Let's become a team in some way. And that's a big deal because when you are not at your best, someone else will be, and they can help you raise to that level. Now, if we're talking about being teammates, that's where camaraderie comes into play. That's where everyone becomes that fist. Care, communication, collective pride. No, collective responsibility, pride, trust. And that's the thing. It's not about who's better, who's not. It's about everyone has the race to run. Some people got to run farther. Some people got to climb faster. But it's not about just are you the best and who's better than you, who you're better than. It's also about saying to each other, let's help each other out. And that's why going to Duke was a big deal for me, because I was at a school. Like I said, this is not a school saying, oh yeah, we have Olympians. Okay, great. You didn't help them become Olympians. This is a school that said, we just want to know you're doing your best for others. And from that, we know you have the heart of a champion. You're gonna get there one day. So come to our school. We'll help you do that because we're the school of champions. And that's what happens. You go to Duke, you become a winner, you become a champ. I went through that growing phase. I found my way through. Duke helped me. If I had gone to other schools, maybe I could have had great experiences too. But what they were all telling me was, look at how awesome the school is. Duke was saying to me, look at how awesome you can be and how awesome we want you to become. That's why I went to Duke. So the most important thing about excellence here is not to say you're the best individual on the team in a particular activity all the time. The big thing is, as Coach K says here, each person can be excellent, but one person may have more ability or expertise at a given time and in a given situation. This happens every year on a basketball team. What I tell my players is, you have to run your own race individually while we are running our collective race as a team. So, if everyone just gives their personal best, that's within their control. If you give your personal best, then people will find ways to work with you. The greatest leaders throughout history, whether it's military, business, personal, anything, they're the ones who found a way to inspire everyone to do their best personally and then use that within a collective effort. And there's a strong element of not just getting people and telling them they'll do well. It's also putting them in the position to succeed. You don't take, say for example, you don't take Yao Ming and tell him to play point guard. You don't take Kyrie Irving and tell him to play center. Maybe every now and then they have to switch off and play and fulfill some other function. Do your best, but you put the right players in the right places at the right time, in the right position, so they can do their best personally and for the team. So, if you put me in football, I can run routes, play wide receiver, play safety if I'm on defense. But football's not the right sport for me. I didn't grow up playing that stuff. A little bit, but not much. But then you put me on a basketball court, I might not have the best skills. And in fact, I would say I'm probably naturally best built for baseball. Um, because I was always a dangerous batter and base runner and stealer. But basketball is where I had the sharpest instincts. Just peripheral vision, being able to sense teammates and just my sense for the game is stronger. Probably also because of the love of the game. I spent so much more time playing basketball than anything else. But the big thing is I grew up probably 95% of my time was spent on practicing. And I can see things before they happen. And in fact, when a player shoots, as soon as he releases, 95% of the time, I already know if it's going in or not. And so it's funny. I've had friends comment on when they watch basketball with me. You always hear that one person's reaction, and then everyone else reacts the same way about half a second later when the shot makes or misses. I'm that person that reacted first because I already knew it was going to go in or not. Everyone else didn't react until it happened. But that's because I spent so much time working on my shot and just my craft and practicing that. And, JJ Redick, in fact, he's the reason that I became such a dangerous shooter because I would go and rewatch his form over and over and over back then when YouTube was basically 144 pixels or 240 or whatever it was at the time, and I would just study his form over and over and force myself to fix my form. And you can tell when I shoot. A true basketball player, as soon as I shoot, they will see how much time and practice I put into that. I never became the best center, but that's okay. I did my personal best in the areas I felt would be best for me, and I can contribute to just about any team I join. So the biggest thing for me was being my personal best in a way that can help teams. And then as a person at Duke, I started at a much lower starting point. I once told a friend, I feel like we're all told to run a mile, which is 4 laps around a track. And some people are being dropped off at the starting line. Some people are being dropped off 100 meters away and being told, just run this one last, straight and you'll be done. Some people are getting dropped off at the stadium. I felt like I was being dropped off at the city border, maybe the county border, state border, and said, go find the stadium, and when you get there, you got to go sign in, find the starting line, and then run the mile. And that's just how it was. I didn't go to the quote-unquote the right high school. I wasn't supposed to make it to Duke. None of us were. And the fact is, no one else did. But I made it. And from there, I was in the stadium, but then I had to go and run that mile. So I had to catch up a lot. There's a lot I wasn't aware of. There's a lot I didn't know about. Even how to do college. What was college about? What's a frat? What do people do at parties? I didn't know what people do. I didn't know what people would do on Friday nights because I was usually at track or basketball or something. So I was still going to the gym on Friday nights and just practicing and working out. And people were saying, why don't you want to come to parties? Well, I didn't even know there were parties on Friday nights. What would you do in high school on Friday nights? Compete? Oh, what'd you do on Saturday nights? Practice, compete. I didn't know I didn't know about partying. It just never occurred to me that partying was a thing. I thought it was only what you saw on TV. I didn't know it was real. But the fact is, I benefited from that my own ways. I set the school record for 3-pointers in a minute, 19 by the way. So even got a trophy in my room, still have it. And I also won a lot of 3-on-3 tournaments. My closet's full of Coach K, or I guess things signed by Coach K, basketball jerseys and stuff like that. Basketballs, because I would win these tournaments 3-on-3 because I was always practicing. So yeah, I never played on the team, but you know, that's the stuff I came in and did well. And along the way, I found ways to contribute. Basketball marathon, raising money for families whose kids have terminal illnesses. Um, becoming a mentor for freshmen and sophomores when I was an upperclassman because I understood the struggles they were going through because I went through it myself. And even on a deeper level than a lot of them, um, being able to say, all right, someone just talked about being a first generation student. I didn't know what the term was, but now I know that's what I am, first generation student, underprivileged. All right, let's go to the Emily K Center and tutor these kids, help them get into college. Because if I can make it with a brain like mine, great. But how many people have this brain? I need to go and help them. So it's not just my personal excellence, it's also excellence for a team. So the biggest thing is where Coach K says the persistent pursuit of excellence determines winners, not the score of the game. I don't know if he meant this or not, but the persistent pursuit of my persistent pursuit of my excellence also determined other people becoming winners because I knew how much harder it is to climb to the top. For example, you're climbing Everest, you start at base camp. I had to start out of the country, fly in, climb to base camp, and then climb up. And then, I always grown up in um, just at most hilly areas, not mountainous areas. So I don't even know climbing. So that's something that has always stuck with me. Excellence has always been a part of what I do. And I don't always manifest excellence. And sometimes I don't put in the right effort. Sometimes I I just don't care enough about certain things. If you challenge me to volleyball, I'm not gonna get involved. And if I probably won't get involved. And if I do, I don't care. It's not something that I pursue. It's not something that I've tried to be excellent at. But basketball, soccer, baseball, track, yeah, I'm gonna practice that stuff. I'm gonna get ready. And especially with intelligence, academics, education, that stuff, yeah, that's where I can definitely excel and pull people along. And I'm gonna do my best to help people, bring them on my ride, bring them along for the ride, because that's where my excellence can help determine others being a winner. So I think the biggest takeaway I want everyone to have here is each person can be excellent, but one person may have more ability or expertise at a given time and in a given situation. So, you know, maintaining high standards, high personal standards for yourself rubs off on others. And the best thing is when your excellence, your pursuit of your excellence, brings others along for the ride. That's when you start to achieve that teamwork and camaraderie, whether it's Shane Battier and Owen Brand or just, when I did the Harvard Business School online classes, helping a classmate with financial accounting. And, she was helping me with business analytics. I would wake up to work with people from Germany. I'd stay up late to work with people from Australia. And they were all helping me out too. The main thing is not just the pursuit of your own excellence for yourself to become your own winner, but to do so in a way that allows you to then help others become winners. Because you don't have to do everything on your own. You chase your own personal excellence, but contribute to a collective. And that's where you get your team. So, it's definitely just something you want to keep going for. You never want to feel like that's it. Just do it yourself. You run your race, but you want your results to help others. So, everyone that watched this, in the future, whenever that is. Um, so remember, pursue your own excellence, but remember, it can contribute to a team. And tomorrow we'll be talking about something a little deeper and less jovial, but this is part of excellence. You don't succeed without failure. And that's the word for tomorrow, failure. So, everyone, be excellent to each other and take it easy.